Hello everyone, I'm Todd. This is my Birdfish channel, and today I'm going to review the VSSL coffee grinder, the G25 model, and I also have the older version, the original version to compare with. And I've been using these grinders multiple times daily for over the past 3 years, so I have some experience. So you'll want to stick around for all the tips and use care that I can give to you. And so let's get started. So who's this VSSL coffee grinder for? Well, obviously the coffee freak that, like me, that enjoys their coffee and wants to have a nice consistent grind and be able to clean it so you can taste the difference between different brands of coffee beans and different roasts and such. So yeah, the coffee freak that grinds his own coffee beans is gonna love something like this. The other guy that might like something like this is the gadget guy. You know, the guy that's got to have the best of everything and likes little gadgets and nicely made stuff. And this is certainly that. This is finely crafted piece of kit. And the other guy that I can think of that might like something like this is, or gal that might like something like this is a person that's kind of into routines, doing the same thing every day, doing things the same way every day. And I kind of admire the Japanese for their rituals around tea and having tea, and I guess the British maybe a little bit too, or like that. But I've always kind of admired that, and the VSSL coffee grinder kind of elevates that coffee experience to that routine to almost a ritual level, you might say. So those are reasons why you might spend the extra money. You know, another one is just you know, having something that might last a lifetime. You know, something like this, aircraft grade aluminum, stainless steel. If you take care of something like this, it should last you a lifetime, in my opinion. And yeah, so those are who might like this. You know, with Christmas coming up and people are trying to think of gifts, this might be a good idea. And right now, they actually are selling this for 30% discount, so it might not be a bad time to pull the trigger and buy yourself a grinder or a friend a grinder. So let's take a quick look at the difference between the original unit and the new G25 unit. Now, the appearance on the outside, it's the new unit is taller and more narrow, but they both hold the same amount of coffee beans and grind the same amount of coffee beans in a serving. Now you have some traditional knurling at the top and bottom that are gone now, and instead they have the new grooves, and you know, some other hidden changes. The knob now has a threaded portion in the top that allows you to screw the knob into the base of the unit there for storage. Now you notice that's not screwing on. We'll get to that, back to that in a minute. The original unit just stored in a little bag, came off there, stored in a little bag like this, and then you put that inside the base of the unit, and that kind of kept it from rattling around and stuff. But overall, it's the same push button top and same overall design. Now, one thing you might notice is this sits flat without the base unit on, or sits upright, whereas the original unit kind of rocks around a little bit. The adjustment knob is protruding. So you might consider that an improvement. The threads are slightly changed. This is kind of a hard stop, whereas this is more of a soft stop into the O-ring, and more turns to get it closed. So yeah, obviously more turns, and then it kind of soft stops at the end. So the other differences are in the shaft, the distance of this octagonal portion where it interfaces with the lid, and I believe they made those changes for durability. We'll get to that in a second. So the two lids, you can see, obviously are a little bit different too with that change. This stainless steel insert here for this mechanism is now taller. Other than that, it clicks in the same way. The arm appears unchanged. Okay, so why do they make these changes, and are they actual improvements? Now back to this knob and being able to store that under the base. One thing I think that they they dropped the ball on is in order to store that knob, in the base and thread it on there, you have to, especially depending on your grind setting, you have to change your grind setting and turn this all the way in, or most of the way in, so you have a little bit of thread left, just where you can then screw that on, and then it stores in there without rattling around. Now, it'd be nice if that was a little bit longer, so you didn't have to change your grind setting every time you wanted to store the knob. That's an extra step they could have possibly eliminated just by making that threaded portion of the bolt a little bit longer to leave some extra thread there for you to screw this on without changing your grind setting. Perhaps then that would have made it rock again. I don't know. But to me, what they could have done is, this thing is already being held magnetically here, right? Why not just put a post in the bottom of the cup that will hold that thing magnetically in the bottom of the cup? Use the same mechanism for both purposes. Then you don't have this threaded portion up here, you just have this one hole in the bottom. So to me, they kind of dropped the ball on that. That should be easier to store that knob on the thread. You shouldn't have to change your grind setting in order to screw this thing on there. Now granted, yeah, that does keep that thing from rattling around. And the old version just kind of sat in there. And if you got this, bag, if you haven't cleaned your chamber out, you're going to have coffee grounds all over the bag. And so I never store that in there. I just throw that on there and store this separate. So the other change that they made was to the lid and this mechanism. And we'll talk about that for a second. The original, if some of you Hawkeye viewers out there might notice, my original vessel grinder was a Predator green color, and now I have this white version that's identical to the green one. This one here, this black and gray G25 model, vessel gave to me as a replacement for the malfunctioning Predator green unit that I had. Alright, so what went wrong with the original Predator green unit that I had? It failed, and what failed was the cap would not engage and stay on the base unit anymore. And the way this thing works is there's a spring-loaded mechanism, and there were some ball bearings, and when that clicks in place, those ball bearings wrap around this knob and hold on to that, and then when you press the button, it releases the mechanism and it comes off. Now what happened to mine was, I believe, coffee grounds got in this hole and up in that mechanism and caused it to jam up and allowed some of those ball bearings to fall out of there, and I lost them. And then the whole mechanism stopped working and engaging with the base unit. So what I do now with this original unit is I make sure that stays nice and clean and free of debris, and I'm real careful about getting coffee grounds around this area, and I spray that with some lubricant, some WD-40 every now and then, keep it nice and clean and lubricated. The change they made with the newer unit, I believe, was to address that problem. This shaft here, this octagon portion of the shaft that engages with the lid is longer now, so it gets this up further away from the coffee grounds, the mechanism, and it also, provides a longer area. This whole shaft here gets wiped clean with the lid every time it gets put on. So I think they made those changes to address, that particular failure mode. All right, one other issue that I've had, I'd like to see the vessel address this. Shouldn't, for the price you're paying for these things, you shouldn't have this kind of an issue. But there's 3 little set screws, 2 here and then 1 here that keeps this from going all the way out. But on every unit, I haven't used this one to find out yet, but on every unit they've come loose and backed out, and in the beginning I almost lost one. And the same thing happened on my original green Predator unit too. A Predator green unit too, was those screws backed out and wanted to fall out all the time during the use. So what I did was just take them all the way out, put some Loctite on there and put them back in, and it hasn't happened again since. So I recommend you do that if you get one of these things. Make sure you put some Loctite on those little set screws. It's kind of maybe a little disappointing that Vessel isn't doing that at the factory for what they're charging. I mean, it is a nicely made unit. You're getting what you pay for. I don't think they're overcharging, but it's one extra step they should be taking. I think they should be taken. Because if you lose that screw, then your arm's not going to hold on there, and it's going to be kind of a pain to grind your coffee. But still, I would be careful with this area here. I would not take that apart at all. Try to take that apart at all. And I would just make sure you blow that out. Keep the debris out of there, and maybe spray some WD-40 or put some other kind of lubricant, maybe some vegetable oil or something in there to keep that lubricated. And then just wipe it out with a rag. But this area, definitely you can take that all apart without any worries and clean that up. So that was the reason why the Predator Green unit failed, and Vessel was very good about replacing that under warranty. And then because of this base unit, the way that knob's stored, and just the overall aesthetics of the newer version, I kind of like the older version, so I went and got this one at a good discount because they were being discontinued, and so I got this one at a good discount, and this is the one I use every day. They both grind coffee equally as well. It's just the subtle little differences that, and that's purely personal preferences. I rather like this color combination here, but yeah, I like the knurling on the older unit. I like the way the older unit, the base came off and on with just a couple turns. And that was another thing I experienced with I used this one for quite a bit. And the base unit, the threads seem to get clogged up with coffee grounds after a while, but you should be cleaning it, on a regular basis anyway. But I didn't have that issue with the original unit. And yeah, if you clean it up, it shouldn't be an issue really. If you like trying different kinds of coffee beans, you should clean the grinder between changing bean types so you can, you're not mixing the different beans together a little bit. And that's part of the beauty of of this grinder is, it gives you consistent grind. You can go back to that same setting and it's going to give you that same grind. And so then that eliminates, another variable. So, if you're making your coffee exactly the same way every time and grinding it the same way every time, the only difference is the bean. And then you can truly start to taste the difference between the different beans and the different roasts and yeah, I love my vessel grinder. Can't imagine not having one, and I use it multiple times, like every day. So I can highly recommend them. They take a little care. They're not bulletproof, but they will last you if you take care of them. So there you go, folks. That's my review of the Vessel G25 coffee grinder. I give it a big thumbs up. I recommend them. I think they're well worth the money, and they make your coffee grinding experience the best experience possible. Hope you like this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe. And but most of all, make sure you have a great day. Thanks, folks.